Hey guys, welcome back to Karan's Cuisine. For my first world tour video, I'll be making alfajores from Argentina. Alfajores are little Dulce De Leche sandwich cookies that are very popular in South America or Latin America. To make these, you need to first make Dulce De Leche, and to do that, you need condensed milk. This is the really easy way of making it. Just take the wrapper off of the condensed milk can like I did here, and then I prepared a pot of boiling water and just put it in here. And you want to make sure that the can is always immersed completely in the water or it will burst. And then just close the lid and check on it every 30 minutes, and it should be done in 2 hours to 2 hours and a half. But if you want it darker, you can let it boil for more, because the more you boil it, it'll get darker. It's been 2.5 hours and the condensed milk inside the can has turned to Dulce De Leche, so now I can take it out. You want to set this aside and let it cool until it reaches room temperature. Now for the cookie. We need 1 cup of sifted cornstarch, 3/4 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and 1.5 teaspoons of lemon zest to give the cookie a little bit of a lemony taste. For the wet ingredients, you need 1 stick of butter, which is about 8 tablespoons, 1/2 cup of powdered sugar, a little bit of vanilla extract just for taste, and 3 egg yolks. Now we can start making the dough. Okay. Now we're mixing the dry ingredients together. Add flour, baking powder, soda, and salt into here, and then just sift it into the already sifted cornstarch. You want to leave the lemon zest out. Now give this a good mix. Now that this is mixed, we can start working on our wet ingredients. The next step, I've cut my unsalted room temperature butter into small cubes, and it's soft. And now we're gonna beat it with an electric mixer and then slowly mix powdered sugar in, and then add vanilla extract, lemon zest, and eggs slowly, one at a time. And they're egg yolks, not the whole egg. Now it's done. You know this is done if it has like a buttercream consistency like this. Also, I made a buttercream video if you want to watch that. And now just add your vanilla extract and lemon zest. Add eggs one by one. Now that this is done, we can put the dry ingredients into this. Now the next step is to mix the dry ingredients into the wet ingredients, and this is gonna get really messy, so just don't complain if you see flour flying everywhere. Okay, just put it on low and whisk it together. It's all mixed together and done, and it's crumbly like this, and you really know if it's done is when if you just lightly push it together, it sticks. So, and that's what it's doing now, so now we can work with it with our hands. Get it into one big clump. Don't put too much pressure or like knead it or anything, just stick it together. now I'm ready with the dough, and I'm going to make it into 2 pieces because it's easier to make the cookies. It's really soft, so you can just cut it with your hand like this. Now I'm going to make it into a ball kind of, and smoothen it, and put it on the plastic wrap, and just squish it so it's even. The reason I'm putting it on the plastic wrap is that we need to put it in the fridge for an hour after this. So I'm just doing it on top of the plastic wrap so it's easier. This is a nice even length. Close this first. Now we can put these in the fridge and wait for an hour or more. The dough has been sitting in my fridge for about 1.5 hours, and I just took it out and waited 5 minutes for it to soften up a bit. So now I can take it out and roll it. I'm just using the roller I use for chapatis, but if you have a proper cookie roller, you should probably use that. Apply some flour so it doesn't stick. I'm almost done, and it didn't take much work for the rolling because I already spread it out a lot before I put it in the fridge. And this is the thickness that it should be. It's nice and even around the whole dough. And this is how thick you want your cookie. And for the cookie cutter that I'm using this thing right here. I don't even know what it is, but you can use like any steel glass or anything circular that can be used to cut the dough, or an actual cookie cutter if you have one. So now I can cut my cookies. I have a baking tray here lined with parchment paper, and I'm already preheating my oven, so now I can take the cookies out. I'm using a knife, but you can use like an icing spatula that they use for those cakes. The extras that were on the outside of the cookies, I made it into one big clump, and now I can do the rolling. I've laid out all my cookies here, and what you want to do is bake them at 350 Fahrenheit for 4 minutes, then turn the tray around, and then bake it for another 4 minutes. Cookies are baked, and the dough made about 50 cookies, but you want to set them aside for about 5 to 10 minutes before handling them because they're really crumbly and they'll break. But since I've already done that, I have to fill them up with Dulce De Leche, about 1 teaspoon for each of them. The next step is to decorate the cookies. The most common way of decoration in Argentina is rolling it up into plain desiccated coconut, and that's what I'm going to be doing now. Oh, looks really yummy. If you don't have coconut or you don't want to do it this way, you could also melt chocolate chips and just pour it on top so it creates like a chocolate filling over it. Since this makes about 25 cookies, you'll probably want to store them. For storing the filled cookies, you want to put it in the fridge and it'll last for up to 2 weeks before it goes bad, and if it's outside, it will only last for about 3 to 4 days. Now I can finally taste these. I'll first try a plain cookie. Oh, it's so crumbly. Now for the coconut. Yeah. The lemon zest in the cookie plus the coconut really adds a lot of flavor. So I would probably recommend to do the coconut, but the plain cookie is still amazing as well. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe, and make sure to check out my next video, which will be Belgian fries from Belgium and brigadeiros from Brazil.